So I guess what really inspired me was the art. I remember asking my mom when I was younger for tattoo magazines whenever we go to the store and stuff, because I wanted to be able to learn how to draw the things out of there. They were always covered in beautiful women and amazing, colorful tattoos, and had really cool stories about the artists and such cool photos of them. And they always seemed like the most amazing people to me. And I learned early on that people that could draw were a little bit more prone to make friends in school. So that helped out since when I was younger, I was kind of weird and didn't have a lot of friends. Giving the client what they want and uh, maintaining some kind of creative expression in tattooing is really difficult. And I think that's what a lot of studios and artists have forgot. They're focused too much on what is going to make them some money and what is going to look good in their portfolio. We've pulled away from what the people want and what our job is as tattoo artists. Um, we're here to provide a service. We're here to help somebody get the tattoo that they want, that they've been dreaming of, not what you've been dreaming of doing. So we focus a lot more on what the client wants specifically and not exactly what they're able to afford. So we can sit down and we can work with them a little bit closer. It helps us be a little bit more personal with our clients. Helps us give them a little bit of extra hands-on caring service to help create an experience that is going to last in their memory and create good feelings as they watch it grow throughout the years with them, instead of having it tainted by some bad portion of the experience, whether it be an attitude from the artist or whether they had to take out a fucking mortgage just to pay for the damn thing. We try to make sure that everybody is getting what they want in their budget. We got to be careful because we still have overhead and bills of our own to pay. Major shifts in the tattoo culture over the years. Wow, has there been a lot? When I was a kid and I was gung ho on tattoos, it wasn't as widely accepted. I mean, there was tattoo shops all over the place, but getting hired anywhere with exposed tattoos was next to impossible. You had to have a specialty job like welding or pipelining or something like that. Um, Mechanic, something where you're basically out of the public's eye. Uh, that whole atmosphere has shifted. And I told some of my family members when I was younger, when I first got out of the military, I'm like, I really want to open up a tattoo studio. Uh, Everything is changing about it, you know. It's so widely accepted and it's growing that I know that they're going to take off. Excuse me. Um, and it did. It was accepted everywhere. I mean, almost anybody, even high-ranking professionals, doctors, lawyers, government officials, they're all practically covered in tattoos below their garments, and a lot of them are even exposed down to the wrist. And it's beautiful. I love it. I love to be able to see everybody's tattoos. Sometimes it stops me dead in my tracks when I'm out and I see somebody's tattoos. I'm just staring at them. And they're like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Hey, easy. I'm just looking at you, man." But it's so widely accepted, and it's not just for a specific age range anymore. You know, it used to be about 18 to 40. You know, unless you're a biker. Um, but now I've got clients ranging from 14 years old. I don't like to go below that. Even with parents' consent, I just don't think anybody's ready for those decisions at that point. But all the way up into late 70s, first-time clients, and our return clients. They repeat. They just keep coming back because they love it. They fell in love with it instantly. And that's one of the things I love about tattooing. It's not just creating a moment for somebody and a memory for somebody and something to memorialize an event in their life. It's a change in their personality. Um, it's it's a shift in their confidence. A lot of people come into tattoo shops and they're like, "Hey, this is great. I'm awesome. I'm awesome. You're awesome. Let's do this. Blah blah blah. I don't care." So, no, but most people, even the ones that seem confident and stuff, they're coming in because they're missing something. Um, there's something lacking in their view of themselves, and a tattoo, the right tattoo, can change that for somebody. It can help them see themselves in a completely different light than they're used to. It can give them that self-esteem boost to pick themselves up, excuse me, and carry on when they might feel like the whole world's against them and they're garbage. The emotional attachment to tattoos is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, most tattoo artists, they don't care anymore. They want to get you in, get you down, get you paid, get the tattoo done, and get you out the door. But while you're there, it's kind of like an inconvenience. From the moment you walk through the door, it seems like they don't want to deal with you. Nobody wants to deal with you. From reception all the way right through the tattooing experience. Because I'm telling you what, some of the stories I've heard from tattooing from my clients is incredible. Because if I sat down with an artist that I had just laid out $500 for a tattoo, any tattoo. And as soon as we sat down, they turned on Netflix and put earbuds in, I'd get the fuck up and I'd be walking out. Because, one, I shouldn't be going through this all by myself. Like, this is a team effort here, bud. Alright? We're both going through some shit right now. I know, from both sides. And if you can't give me the respect of even acknowledging I'm here while I'm sitting here after I've paid you hundreds of dollars, I don't want to be here. This is not the experience for me. So I base my entire business model around that. All my studios, all of my apprentices, that's how they are started from the ground up, to show respect and treat that person like more than just a job. This is not a job. We are changing lives, literally. And there's really only two professions. I mean, they've branched off, don't get me wrong, but there's two professions that are legally allowed to make modifications to the human body. That's the medical profession and the body art industry, the tattoo, body piercings, and stuff like that. Like, it's insane the amount of stress that we take on for this. But then I watch some artists and they act like it doesn't matter. It's just a payday. And I'm sorry for you, but I'm not at all, because that's not how we're built. And the insane speed at which our clients are growing proves that. Yes, owning 2 tattoo studios is a big accomplishment. And a hell of a lot of work. Some of the challenges we've faced are pretty obvious to anybody that knows the area we're in. The Ohio Valley is so saturated with not just tattoo shops and good tattoo shops, with amazing artists, some of them, but also with home artists and scratchers. So you're not just competing. We weren't just competing with businesses that had been open for 10 and 20 years already, and artists that had at least twice as much experience as even me. I've been in this game for over 11 years, and I don't claim to be an ink master by any stretch of the imagination. I provide a lot more than just tattoos to my clients. Um, but the intense pushback, it was pretty rough. I don't want to go into anything specific. I'm not going to name any shops or any specific artists and tell what kind of stupid stories they did. That's not what this is about. But we did face some of that. We've faced a lot of aggression. People just popping into the studios to run their mouths or try to give us a scare or flex on us. It never works out too well for them, but you know, it's good video feed for my cameras. We like to laugh about it. But overall, it's been pretty easy, to be honest. The way I've built my business, the way I run my business, the way the clients are treated in my business has truly set us apart from everybody else. When I first opened up, I was in competition with a lot of other shops. I mean, I think five or six, maybe even more, just within 30 minutes driving. So trying to stand out from them was the hardest thing. When I first started out, it was just me. I started out very simple, very basic. I just wanted my studio open. I just wanted to be able to do tattoos again on my own. I had taken a long break from tattooing. Went into other areas. I went into the pipeline, learned how to run heavy equipment. That was a lot of fun. But eventually I was drawn back to it. A studio close by opened up, or where they had a spot open up. They needed a licensed artist. So I jumped in there and worked there for a few weeks just to get myself back into the swing of things. And immediately I was like, well, it's time to get my own shop again, because I don't do well working for other people. Once you get that taste of working for yourself and you're the boss, oh, it's so hard to go back to anything else. It all sucks. It sucks so bad. My artists are learning that too. Even though most of them do have other jobs, they're realizing how much better it is to be at work at the studio than it is anywhere else. How I overcame the challenges was another story altogether. I learned not to focus on anybody else around me. I'm not in competition with any of these studios anymore. I stopped being in competition against these other studios about 6 months into my first year of the Inkatorium. When I realized that I had it all figured out already. That my business plan, which I'm not going to expose everything, but with what I was observing for years and the feedback that I was getting, my business model was perfect. All I needed to do was just continue what I was doing and start looking for the right people to bring in and create the next generation of tattoo artists in the Ohio Valley. And the rest of that is just history. It's really hard to narrow down like my most memorable tattoo. Um, Man, that's hard. I mean, not just because I've done thousands, and my memory is garbage, but because there's so many great experiences. It's not about the tattoo necessarily. I've done tattoos that took 30 minutes that were so much more enjoyable and memorable than some that took 6 hours. I guess if I had to choose one, if I had to narrow them all down, when I was an apprentice, I had a lady come in, a client, and she had a bunch of roses and barbed wire on her leg, and it was horrible. To be honest, it was horrible. She told me her story. Over the course of, I think it was 10 years, she had tried to get this tattoo fixed 3 or 4 times. Each time it just made the lines thicker and darker. More of a nightmare. I was about 6 months into my apprenticeship when she came to me and asked me if there's something I could do for her. And I looked at it for a minute. I was pretty cocky back then. And I said, yeah, let's give it a shot. And a couple hours later, it was gone. We were able to cover it. We covered it with a cluster of flowers and colored them in to match her wedding colors. And as soon as it was done, everything was gone. It was all gone. The whole nightmare was gone. And the excitement mixed with relief as she cried when she saw that it was gone was amazing. It really set the tone for me as far as cover-ups and restorations. That's what I specialize in. I can do all kinds of stuff, but that's mainly because I've started in restoration and cover-ups. So that's given me a huge range to work with. I mean, pretty much every style I've had to learn how to work with. And I love it. I don't want to be tied down to one or two styles. I don't want to be limited. I can't be limited. Like, I can't be constrained like that. Just like one studio wasn't enough for me. I needed another one. And we're not done yet. We're not done yet by any stretch of the imagination. I've only started to reveal my business plan. There's a lot coming. Yes. Altogether, I have successfully created 8 amazing tattoo artists. Some of them are still in their apprenticeship phase, don't get me wrong. But growing so fast and so passionately. And we've created a giant family. Even not just separately in each studio. Not each studio has a family. But the Inkatorium family, like everybody, works so well with each other and has the same passion, the same drive, and the same respect for not just the industry, but the clients that provide us with the job. You know, my approach to mentorship, again, I can't give away too much. I don't want all these other studios around me to catch up. But my approach to mentorship was probably about as backwards as you can get in tattooing. I specifically seeked out artists that either had no experience or very little experience tattooing. Uh, but they had the desire, they had the passion, they wanted this career. Uh, this is what they've been wanting for years, more or less their whole lives. It sounded a lot like my own story. A lot of the other tattoo studios in the valley had either laughed at them or wouldn't even give them the time of day. And that sounded very familiar to me. Like I said, since I was 12, I wanted to do this. This was my dream. And I got my shot when I was finally in my 30s. And I mean, hell, half of my life was already gone, just about, before I even got to start my dream. I didn't want that for my artists. I wanted my artists to have a lifelong career. I want them to have not just the next 20 years to do this, but the next 40 to 60 years to create tattoos and create who they are in the industry. There's no doubt in my mind that these are going to meet some of the top artists in the entire industry in 10 years, maybe less. They are phenomenal and they're growing so fast, but that's because I don't treat them like most shops. It's not a trade secret, it's not an industry secret that when you become an apprentice in a tattoo studio, like the first few months to 6 months, you're treated like shit. You know, you're garbage. They're gonna see if they can push you out. You're gonna be cleaning trash cans. You're gonna be doing drawings for everybody else. You might get to work on some fake skin, but you're not touching any real skin. Basically, it's similar to boot camp. It's breaking you down and making you submissive. But at the same time, it's building them up to be assholes. And I'm not sure at what point in this process it changes from being a slave to an asshole. But it does. Because that seems to be the majority of the tattoo artists that I've met. Now, you see what I did there? I didn't say the industry because I don't know all of you guys. You might be great guys. You might be just like me. You might be nice as hell. But I don't know everybody. But some of the ones that I have met, they haven't left a great impression. And I absolutely refuse for my name or one of my studios to carry a reputation or an impression like that. Wow. Yeah, that's tough. Having two separate studios, two separate teams, but still maintaining a strong team dynamic, as well as creative energy flowing through both studios, is definitely tough. We've got four artists at the Inkatorium plus me, and we've got 4 artists at Top Gun Tattoos plus me. I float between both studios because I've got clients at both studios that are dedicated. Some of them prefer the Inkatorium, some of them don't have vehicles, so it's close by, and we've built a strong connection, so that's where they go. So I make sure that I'm able to bounce back and forth to maintain those relationships, so that they're able to get the things that they want in a comfortable, safe environment from somebody that they know and they're comfortable with. We have to make sure that that's how each person in each studio is approaching their clients. I demand it. That's how we run things. So to keep everybody on the same page, we talk together all the time. Every group chat has every single person in it. So anything that's going on with the studio, any ideas I have for the studio, any ideas my artists have for the studios, they all run through that so we can get feedback from each individual artist. I don't like making a big decision without taking into into account the opinions of my artists, because they're the ones that are going to have to deal with it too, especially Brittany and Sarah and Ashley and Alex, when they're pretty much by themselves. Well, not by themselves, but on their own without me the majority of the time. But that studio still runs and operates the exact same way as Top Gun Tattoos. One of the most common mistakes that I keep seeing, and I keep trying to tell everybody over and over and over, when you're first starting out, I know it's hard to get anybody to take you seriously. It's going to feel like nobody cares and you're never going to get a shot unless you can produce some amazing tattoos on your own to impress some studio to take you in. And that's not how it works. Not entirely. Fake skin. Fake skin is my biggest push for new artists. Stop tattooing on yourself. When you go to a tattoo studio and you're trying to get an apprenticeship, or you're trying to get a spot there, if you are covered in doodles that you did yourself because you were practicing, it's a big turnoff for the artist in the studio. And it's not because of just how it looks. All right, practice is practice. We understand. You need practice to get better. We all do. That's the way it works. However, all of that has to be fixed or covered before you are presentable to clients as a tattoo artist. All right? Most people, not all, that's obvious, but most people do not want to be tattooed by somebody who is covered in crap tattoos. Even if it's your practice. I understand you gotta practice. But if your tattoos don't look any better than that by the time you're tattooing on their skin, how do they know you've gotten any better? How do they know it's not one of these other artists in the studio doing these doodles on you? Now, there's a style of tattooing that is just line work and small, crazy pictures. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you thought this chunk of tribal that you could freehand, not knowing depth or nothing, is a great interview piece. And it's not, because now I have to try and figure out how I'm going to cover that before I set you in front of a paying client who's already nervous and not quite sure if they're supposed to be here because they've never sat down with you before. And as they look at your body and they see these tattoos, you start to secure that thought that maybe they're not supposed to be there. So my biggest piece of advice would be practice on fake skin or just draw. Alright? A good tattoo artist, a good mentor, can teach you how to operate a tattoo machine. Can teach you how to run clean lines. And how to do your shade fill. And how to do your solid. And what the pendulum is. Alright? And what whip shading is. And what the proper depth is for your needle. A lot of my artists, not all of them, but a lot of them, have started out with little to no experience with a tattoo machine. Don't get me wrong, some of them came in, they had done some tattoos on themselves, and they weren't bad. The line work was pretty solid, which played a big factor in me choosing them. But like I said, a lot of them have no experience, had never even held a tattoo machine, and already they've grown so much that I'm excited as hell for their future, because they're going to be some of the top top artists in the industry. I know it. I can see it already. Less than a year in, and they're just phenomenal. All right, I don't want to say too much, but toot my own horn or toot their own horn, give them a big head or nothing, but they're fantastic artists, and they're just going to get better. And being so young, they've got a lot of time to not just get better, but to provide incredible tattoos for years and years and years to come. What do tattoos mean to me? That's a tough one. To me, they're kind of like evolution. Certain points in our life, we meet specific people. Certain things happen to us. We lose things, we gain things. Our entire life is an experience we get one shot at. And we forget a lot. Tattoos are a way to remember our journey, but not just remember our journey, but to honor our journey. And the people we've met along the way. The people who have made an impact on our lives. They're not just drawings. They're not just art. They're not just storytelling. They're a way of immortalizing experiences we've gone through. Sometimes they're ways to fill the gaps. If I could give one piece of advice to someone looking to get their first tattoo, it would have to be do your research. Alright? That doesn't just mean looking on Facebook and checking out some pictures. Alright? You need to either stop in and meet the people at the studio and get yourself a vibe for the place and the person who's going to be doing the tattoo. Alright? You want to make sure you've got somebody that's going to look out for your best interest and not just the tattoo. And what that means is somebody who's going to pay attention to how you and your body are reacting to the stress and the pain. Your first experience with tattooing is so important because when you get your first tattoo, generally before it stops hurting, you're picking out your next one. Alright? But if you pick out the wrong tattoo artist, the wrong studio, and you have the wrong experience, it's going to turn you off and make you not want to get another one when there are so many different opportunities and so many possibilities for designs that you might want in your life, events you might want to memorialize. But because your first experience, you sat down with some jerk who just rushed the tattoo and dug on you and made it hurt and made it scab and made it scar. And why would you ever want to sit down with somebody and pay them hundreds of dollars to do the same thing again? Now, there are studios out there that give a shit. They care about your experience. They care about your budget. And they want to make sure this lasts a lifetime. Not just the tattoo, but the memories you're making, the laughs you had, the excitement, the pain, the anxiety that before you sat down, you were so nervous. Oh my God, but here we are. There's so many levels to getting a tattoo. And If you allow someone to ruin one of those, then it just taints the whole experience. So find a studio and artists that care. All right? They care about more than just getting that money out of your wallet. They care about you and your tattoo. So remember, the next time you're searching for your next tattoo and where you're going to get it done, there are 2 magical tattoo shops right here in the Ohio Valley that are solely dedicated to giving you quality tattoos at a fair price in a comfortable, safe, professional environment, surrounded by people that actually want you to be there and engage with them while they create it for you. So, the next time you go to get a tattoo, don't just go get a tattoo. Come have an experience at the Inkatorium in Bel Air, Ohio, or Top Gun Tattoos in Martins Ferry, Ohio. You can find us on Facebook, or you can reach us at 740-213-6703. Thanks.